Hey everyone, Nigel and Luke here, and welcome to Crime Zone. While wrongful conviction cases are always frustrating and sad injustices, the stakes are never quite as high as when it comes to a wrongful conviction for murder. Not only is an innocent person deprived of their freedom, but a killer is allowed to walk free, sometimes even going so far as to kill again. Today, we wanted to take a look at the worst case scenario for these kinds of crimes. People who were wrongfully convicted for the work of serial killers. If you've been subscribed to our channel for a while, you'll know that we've covered a few of these cases in the past. Unfortunately, that was far from an exhaustive list, so we decided to put the spotlight on a few more of these terrifying stories. If you haven't seen the first collection of cases, be sure to check out those as well. We'll leave a link in the description below. Before we get to our list, we wanted to take a second to let everyone know that Crime Zone's Patreon is now live. In addition to ad-free versions of all of our content and weekly bonus videos for our Crimes of the Week and Crimes of the Week International series, patrons will get exclusive monthly videos covering viewer-suggested cases. If you want even more Crime Zone content and are interested in helping to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/crimezone to sign up. We'd love to have you on board. With that out of the way, here are 3 more people wrongfully convicted for the crimes of serial killers. On August 30th, 1995, the body of 16-year-old Jessica Payne was found behind a vacant house on the north side of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The teenager had run away from her parents' home just 3 days earlier. Jessica's body was found underneath a discarded mattress amid dirt and glass. She had died from having her throat slashed. Evidence at the scene showed that the teenager had likely been sexually assaulted before her death, as her shirt had been partially raised and her pants nearly removed. This was confirmed by swabs that were taken from Jessica's body, which showed the presence of semen. At the time, Jessica's murder was the 5th in a growing number of cases involving women who had been killed in a similar way in Milwaukee since the previous October. And just a few days later, another victim would be added to that list. Like Jessica, most of these women had been murdered and left near vacant houses or garbage bins in the city's north side. In fact, some of the victims had been killed just a few houses away from where Jessica's body had been found. However, unlike Jessica, all of the other victims were black women, and despite the similarities between all of the cases, police continued to insist that there were no clear links between any of the killings. When police announced the arrest of 3 suspects in Jessica's murder at the end of October, it seemed to further vindicate their belief that the killings were unrelated. Information from an inmate at the Milwaukee County Jail led them to a 17-year-old named Richard Gwynn. Under questioning, Gwynn confessed to police that he and 2 others had been involved in Jessica's murder, 20-year-old Sam Hadaway and 21-year-old Shantae Ott. Gwynn told police that on August 27th he was driving in his car with Sam and Shantae, and that they had picked up Jessica Payne after seeing her outside of a store. He claimed that the group had found a place to park near some abandoned buildings and had drank and smoked together in the car until at some point Sam, Shantae, and Jessica had exited and disappeared behind one of the houses. Gwynn said that after several minutes, only Sam and Shantae returned, and they told him that they had tried to rob Jessica, but when they found out that her pockets were empty, Shantae had cut her throat. Based on the confession from Gwynn, police had next brought in Sam Hadaway. Sam denied any involvement in the crime, and when shown a photograph of Jessica, said that he had never seen her before. He also agreed to give police samples of his hair, blood, and saliva. The following day, Sam was again brought in for questioning, and he again denied any involvement. This was repeated a 3rd time with the exact same result. Despite this, police went ahead and arrested Sam for the murder and attempted robbery of Jessica Payne. Shantae Ott was also arrested. Following Sam Hadaway's arrest, he finally agreed to change his story and asked for a 4th meeting with investigators. In this interview, he reportedly told police that he did participate in the crime and matched his story up with the one that they had gotten from Gwynn, saying that he had been involved in the attempted robbery, but that Shante had been behind the murder. What authorities failed to disclose to the public at the time, however, is that both Richard Gwynne and Sam Hadaway's confessions had been coerced. Sam had only confessed after being arrested and told that he would be put away for 80 years based on the evidence police had against him. For agreeing to testify against Shante, he was only charged with attempted robbery and would subsequently receive 5 years in prison. It was also not disclosed that Sam suffered from cerebral palsy and epilepsy, conditions which had left him with brain damage, and according to medical records, a poor ability to recount events accurately. Richard Gwynne, meanwhile, managed to avoid charges altogether in the case in exchange for his testimony against Shante. At Shante's trial, the prosecution relied heavily on the testimony they had secured from their supposed eyewitnesses, Sam Hadaway and Richard Gwynne. Their strongest physical evidence in the case reportedly consisted of 2 box cutters and a knife that had been seized from Shante's house. The medical examiner who had conducted Jessica's autopsy concluded that neither box cutter had likely been used in the murder, but that the knife could have been involved because the fatal wound had been inflicted with a sharp-edged weapon. However, no blood evidence was actually found on any of the 3 supposed murder weapons. In March of 1996, Shante Ott was convicted of Jessica's murder and attempted robbery. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for 50 years. When he subsequently attempted to appeal the case in 1998, it failed when the Wisconsin Court of Appeals upheld his conviction and sentence. 2 years later, the Wisconsin Innocence Project began working on Shante's case and filed a motion for DNA testing on the semen sample that had been collected from Jessica's body at the scene of her murder. This motion was granted in 2002, and the results showed that the DNA was not a match to Shante Ott, Sam Hadaway, or Richard Gwynne. The DNA profile was submitted to the FBI database, but no match was found. Despite this seemingly exculpatory evidence, Shante Ott was not exonerated. The state contended that the DNA did not actually prove his innocence because he had not been convicted of sexually assaulting Jessica Payne. Then, in 2007, it was discovered that the DNA obtained from Jessica's murder matched an unknown profile from 2 unsolved killings that had taken place in the same neighborhood. The 2 unsolved murders had taken place in 1997 and 2007, and as a result, could not have been committed by Shante Ott. The finding sparked a new investigation into Jessica's murder, in which Sam Hadaway was re-interviewed. He admitted that he had lied to police about everything, and had only confessed to the original investigators because they had threatened him with such a lengthy sentence. He said that he learned most of the details about the case from the investigators as they were interviewing him, and simply made up the rest. Based on the new DNA evidence and the recantation of the state's star witness, the Wisconsin Innocence Project moved for a new trial for Shante. This was denied by a trial judge, but overturned by the Wisconsin Court of Appeals in December of 2008. In January of 2009, Shante was released from prison on bond after serving 13 years. 6 months later, the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office dismissed all charges against him. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place when in the fall of that year, the DNA profile from Jessica's murder, as well as the other 2 unsolved cases, was linked to a man named Walter Ellis. Ellis had a long criminal history, including battery, reckless endangerment, theft, drug possession, and robbery, but at that time had also been arrested for his suspected involvement in the murders of several women. The killer in those cases had been dubbed the North Side Strangler by the media. Ultimately, Ellis would be convicted for 7 of those murders, including the 1997 and 2007 murder that had originally been linked with Jessica's. Sadly, even with the DNA evidence, Ellis was never charged with Jessica's murder, despite the fact that authorities believed that he was responsible for her death. It isn't exactly clear why authorities declined to prosecute Ellis for the murder, but there was some speculation that it may have had to do with the fact that her murder didn't fit the pattern of Ellis's other killings, particularly because all of the other victims were black women. Still, the evidence against him seems more than compelling. Ellis died in prison in 2013. After his release, Shante Ott received $25,000 in compensation from the state of Wisconsin, the maximum sum that the state allows. He also filed a wrongful conviction lawsuit against the city of Milwaukee, receiving $6.5 million in 2015. With the help of the Wisconsin Innocent Project, Sam Hadaway was also eventually able to get his conviction vacated in 2018. The attempted robbery charge he had served time for was subsequently dismissed. Hadaway is also currently attempting to receive compensation from the state for his wrongful conviction. As of April 2021, the State Claims Board is reviewing whether or not to award him $25,000. Do you know of any other cases like this that you think we should check out? Tell us about them in the comments section below. As always, if you enjoyed our video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Crime Zone for more true crime content like this, making sure to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest releases. Thank you for watching.